won that honor. That was because she was here very punctually before the meeting. And that comes with a lot of other benefits that Fred will explain to you later on.
Along with your gift package.
And gift package to be mailed to you before the start of the next year. Okay, we have some minutes from our, I'm going to have to reprimand Wilma for being late. We have the minutes from our last meeting. Any comments?
I have one of mine changed, which she implemented. So based on that, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
John.
Yes.
I want to say something before I forget, because I wrote it on my agenda here. Township lost a true leader, visionary, long-time de facto mayor of Auburn Township. John Reithofer passed away last Thursday. He was very active in the county politics and really kind of sparked my interest in township and local government, and he'll be missed.
Probably one of the nicest individuals you ever meet.
And I was just going to, kind of caught us off guard there, PJ, but I have to say John Reithofer came to the meetings for years, and John did not, he did lots of things for the township, and he did not want recognition for him, and he's going to probably roll over right now, but without John Reithofer, we would have never gotten the property at Adam Hall, and one of the largest and nicest gifts we've ever received in the township. And there's so many things John did behind the scenes for the township. It's unbelievable. And sometimes we would tease him that he was sleeping in the back here, but he was always paying attention. And he brought a lot of things to the board over the years that were very beneficial to the whole township. And so it was very sad to hear of his passing.
John was one of the last of the 18 founding members of our department. And John did a great many things, and I'm sure Carl will probably elaborate on some of this. Years ago, before we really had post offices, they had 4-digit addressing system. He was responsible for getting us a 5-digit system in place, put that together, as well as many other things. The department, when it initially started, didn't have insurance. He provided the first year's insurance to the department, and then for 24 years after that, made sure we were covered under insurance policy as economically as possible. I can't put enough words together tonight to really define the man, but one thing I can tell you, if there's a true definition of Auburnite, John Reithofer is it. And Mr. Chairman, when we're done talking about Mr. Reithofer, I'd like to take a moment of silence to honor him.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Proceed.
May the Lord be with you, John. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
That was it for my report, too.
Thank you, John. Okay. We have a guest here. He's an Auburn Scout, Harrison. I can't pronounce your name. Uvegas. There you go. Step forth and speak your speech.
I love public speaking. It's so much fun. I want to start off by thanking you guys for allowing me to come to this meeting and speeching, I guess, as
Speechifying.
Speechifying?
Yeah.
Is that a term? I don't know.
It is not.
Okay, sure.
Hey, Harrison, you point out you're welcome. No. Go ahead.
My name is Harrison Uvegas. I'm a Life Scout with Troop 101. I'm recently trying to finish up my Eagle before my 18th birthday, which is coming around the corner in August, but hopefully I'll get it done. I only have a few more merit badges to go, and I still have to do my project, which is why I'm here tonight. I think it was back in April I spoke to the secretary, I believe her name is Nancy, is that correct? And she gave me a list of project ideas, and at the top of it was the nature trail, where 2 other scouts have put in bridges. It's kind of, the entrance is kind of bland. There's nothing really there indicating where the trail begins and where it stops. So I was thinking, maybe like a nice sign or like a nice information post or something like that. And then while I was vacationing in Key West, Florida, I saw this archway, and it was unique and interesting. It was 4 posts, and then it came up to the top, and it had this umbrella-like shaped cover on top of it. And I thought, that's kind of a unique idea. Maybe I'll take a picture of that, go back home, do some research. So I did that, and then I researched it, and I thought, if I could build this same width of the trail entrance, I could put this right in front of the trail and have a nice little umbrella top. And then David Kavanaugh is making an information kiosk, and I thought maybe I could, work with him on his project. Maybe have his kiosk next to my archway, or my archway next to his kiosk, something like that. But basically, it's just an archway that indicates where the trail begins. So.
Do you have any kind of a sketch of this? Or?
I do have a sketch.
Okay.
I have a picture. It's not the best quality. It was a humid day in Key West. It's beautiful weather down there, better than Ohio's, unfortunately.
Now, the one thing with an archway, Chief, don't we have to have access back there for that little rescue buggy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to have to clear the 8-foot wide path.
So it had to be built to regulations for...
Well, it just has to be wider than the 8-foot path.
Okay.
It's got to allow us access with our ATV.
Right.
Do we ever go back there with a backhoe?
I'm not sure where exactly you want to put this thing, but we do have to right now also that's correct, PJ. We got to get back there. Right now, we don't have a small working vessel or vehicle like the fire department. So, but we do have to get back into the woods because trees fall on the path and this and that.
So you need to make sure that the
We
archway
have to
was-
work out the placement of this such that we can still get a backhoe through there.
Or just assure access?
Right.
There's that
Well,
kind of that
it doesn't,
second
it doesn't need to go through your thing, but
Right,
it needs to
right.
we have to figure out how that can get back
Okay.
there.
He might have to, with that buggy, get through your thing.
No, I'm thinking that what we should do is maybe like a little bypass drive for heavy equipment.
I want to ask Emmerich if we can get in the entrance that's farther west.
Okay.
It's in the woods.
Still could make a little bypass driveway to go around it. And still have the entrance being the main way into the...
Yeah. But let's see what you got there.
Well, the picture isn't the best quality because I took it with my phone, but this top right one here is kind of the idea I had going. So, 4-post kind of archway thing with an umbrella top. I know it's kind of small and tiny and doesn't really do it justice. And then the other 3 pictures is where I was thinking about putting it.
Yeah. You gotta think about who was in there, 2 double-wide strollers, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, we'd have to establish a reasonable width. Is there any, we had talked about using that for possibly cross-country meets also. See if there's any,
I think that would be fine. The trail's 8 feet wide, so you have to be on the outsides of the trail.
okay.
You should, in a reasonable amount of time, you should be able to figure out what
Right.
we need for width and height, and I think
The regulations
it'll be fine. Yeah, I
of
think
what-
it'll be fine.
Is that there and stuff?
I think it'd be a good addition.
Yeah.
So, a motion to approval for the project, contingent on us seeing the final dimensions before it gets started, so we can confirm that
We're going
everything's
to have to
going to
make
be...
a drawing to be able to build this.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is that has to be like right on the edge of the woods or just a little bit south, because in the woods we got to deal with conservancy
Okay.
for any structure or any type. So, yeah, but you'll be fine. I mean, you got room there. It's not a problem.
So a sketch with dimensions is what you were...
Maybe put a stick in the ground up there where you think the corners might be.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you're going to have him get in touch with that Emmerich then?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be sorted through.
what you need to do here, Harrison, is you gotta make up a sketch
Okay.
that has some dimensions on it. You can do that by hand. And then we're gonna have to hook you up here with Emmett Gordon,
All right.
and he'll meet you up there or whatever to physically look at the spot where you want to do it. And give you he's a real good guy to know, so,
Okay.
okay? You can just call the office here, and Nancy will hook you up with them.
All right. Sounds good.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay. Chief, you already did your reports. We'll jump to Mr. Troy.
Okay. The only thing I've got is...
Oh, I'm sorry. Mike, excuse me. We have Jim Dixon here, our project manager, and we can have his report, and then if he wants to get headed out, he could do that. Sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
Fine.
Troy, you take precedence over Mike. Don't worry.
Not my choice, like, you know.
Sure,
Come on, get over it.
So we're moving along. It's weather is playing havoc with us on a couple of issues, but we've managed to work around it so far. We're expecting rain again tomorrow. The site just today got halfway decent after the weekend's blizzards that we had around the area, but we're just doing the best we can with the weather we have.
You want to just give us an update where you are right now, what's completed, and
we have, the foundations are all done. The piers that the main truss is set on inside the building that support the building, those piers are all done. We have insulation around the inside of the foundation walls, and we're waterproofing it. All the water storage tanks are in place for the sprinkler system, and also the residual waste for the trench drains. We set a new power pole last week. Illuminating company was here for 3 days, I think, and we had to power off Friday for a while they transferred the wires from one pole to the other, so that in the back they would continue to have their power even after we attached to the new pole. Once we run the underground and up to the pole. So we have revised the schedule. Just today, we finished the new schedule, and we have moved some things around. The end date is not moved at all, but we have moved other things we can do with this weather. We're contemplating pouring the floor inside the building before the roof is on, because we can't wait. The building is coming the at the end of the first week of June, and we want to be ready for it. So if we can, we're going to get the floor in. We have the trench drains there. We're going to start setting those, probably not tomorrow, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll set the trench drain inside the building. And then we'll be able to stone to the trench drains and get the floor poured in. Probably will take the better part of a week to pour that floor. So the last week of the month, we're hoping to pour everything but the administration and get that out of the way. And that's the adjustments. Originally, we were going to wait for the building to come, but we can't. We're going to pour. So it'll all work out. It's going around. We have good people, and they're always thinking. We're always trying to keep this thing going any way we can. So hopefully, by the time July and August rolls around, we'll have some dry weather. I don't know. Yeah, that's about it.
okay. Well, Jim, thank you very much. And now we'll go to Mr. Troy.
Okay. Yeah, if you remember last week, we were discussing a sewer and a parcel. The information we were given at the time was that that parcel was part of the 208 plan. It is not. It doesn't change my thought process on allowing that particular tie-in, since this is the last tie-in in the pipe goes directly through the parcel, 50 feet from the building. Talk to the county and water planning, Frank Hitko, all the information that I've received was that we should allow it. So the only change really is that we would have to amend the 208 plan to add that particular parcel.
Parcel number noted here. Is it?
It's parcel number 01-072100. So I'll make a motion to modify the 208 plan to allow that individual parcel to be added.
With one tap.
One tap.
I'll second it.
I just want to go and say I'm opposed to altering the 208 program. And I think you're opening the door to some can of worms down the road.
Well, my thought would be on behalf of reasonableness, you got a parcel that contains that sewer line. Granted, it's right now just a transmission line from Lorien Woods to Auburn Lakes, and then Auburn Lakes continues on out to a pumping station. So anyway, this particular parcel contains that sewer line. That sewer line is owned by Water Resources in Geauga County. They say there's one tap in available. That line travels under that property. I have a hard time coming up with where Auburn Township, without looking like an overreaching bureaucracy, could deny that when all the owners involved agree on a parameter. So that's where I'm at.
Well, there's always going to be some parcel that's connected to the 208 program. 208.
But that would require an extension. This is not an extension.
And there's always a parcel that's going to be connected, but neighboring, adjoining. Mm-hmm. I think we're opening up a bad precedence here. So call for vote.
Okay. Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
John?
No.
That was all that I had.
Okay. Motion passed.
PJ?
A couple things. Memorial Day, our speaker is Mark Jimison. His bio is posted online already. All contact's been made. We're going to have a preliminary go over everything meeting here next week, 23rd. I believe that's at 6:30. I honestly don't remember when we scheduled it for. I know it's not 7:30. I think it was 6:30. Cards are out.
6:30.
Is it 6:30? Okay. As I was listening to the Indians tie the game up on the way over, they had Paul Dolan on talking about the upcoming Velisano bike ride, which portion of that I think is coming out this way again this year. It was, just been a wonderful and tremendous event for the last 2 years, except for, of course, the guy that I hit down here. So I think we ought to probably mention this with some frequency, certainly with the media as well, that there's going to be a lot of bicycles going through town, and
They're unfamiliar.
they're unfamiliar with the county, and they may or may not pay attention to traffic control. I know the sheriff's been notified, we've been, everybody, they made all these notifications this year, which they didn't last year. But just everybody be aware if you're driving out there that you get 5-6 bikes, they're not all going to stop at that stop sign. So, Auburn alumni had an annual meeting yesterday down at Adam Hall. It's the first time we've hosted it. It's always been up at the church, but seemed to work out better at Adam Hall yesterday. We had 75, 80 people yesterday. There's, I think we did have a group photographer. We had a photographer there yesterday, which you'll see the requisition for, since it's the first time hosting this, and Okay, quite frankly, the youngest Auburn high school alumni is over 80 now. Thought maybe we'd do something special for this group because that's, when you see who's there, that's a lot of them are the backbone of Auburn for the last 50 years. We did you saw the requisition form. It was the Auburn photographer, I think it's Palmieri up here by Wing Road. Just the thought I would have is that of this group of alumni left, and it looked to be about 15, we got a group picture. I was kind of thinking maybe we would spend a little, we own the disc now, the photos. I thought maybe we would do a glossy of the group and send it to each of the 15 within reason. We'll get an estimate on what it would cost to print a little thing out for these people, but I just said it was an honor to have that group there. And
PJ?
Yeah.
The alumni would like to thank you and the trustees for letting us use the building. It was very nice, and we really had room. People did not want to go home last night.
it was nice, yeah. It was a very real, it was the kind of thing that building's built for, actually. So, yeah. Everybody behaved but Wilma. Yeah.
Here's a big surprise.
I did behave.
Wilmer,
now.
you were a little late to the meeting.
Oh, tonight,
From last
yes.
night.
That's right.
And I had to go out, too.
That's right.
But yeah,
Note that in the minutes.
thank you. That was kind of fun, a good dinner up there, and
Oh, we had such a good dinner.
yeah.
It was delicious.
So, hoping to post the same thing from now on. And we're sure happy to do what we can for Auburn High School alumni.
What year was the last graduating class?
Was it 51?
1952.
52.
I was in it.
Okay.
That's how I know.
Had all the yearbooks out, and people are poking through the yearbooks, and yeah.
We have a newspaper about the old school and the fire. And there's a picture of Auburn Corners in it. There's a lot of history in that piece of paper.
Ray Andrews was there, and this lady that's wants to do this little history thing that maybe she'll put in the banter, periodically. Ray was one of the 3 authors of that, and so I got to ask him. Ray's 96 years old.
Yeah.
Got to ask him and his son. We're probably going to be quoting you. They thought that was the greatest thing. So, yeah. That's all. I have.
93, 95, and 96.
Yeah.
3 people.
We got a group picture of them, and that was nice. Thanks, Wilma.
Did you bring your cheerleader outfit, Wilma?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's a little too late for that. It's cold out now.
Anything else, PJ?
No, that's all I have.
All right. Fred?
All right, I've got your regular reports in front of you. Fund summary report, revenue summary report, appropriation status summary report, and your payment listing report for warrants 3013 through 3040, totaling $96,514.89. We've got a couple of housekeeping things here. Actually, one of them we're going to get to under new business, but when we did receive $9,500 from the sale of the Ford tractor on the eGov site, the auction site, and I just need a motion on the record to move that money from the general fund back to Road and Bridge.
So moved.
Second.
And everything else I think we're going to cover under new business, so that's all I have.
Okay, well, we've done an update. So we'll go on. We have a bid out right now, which is for chip sealings Valley and Stafford, parts of Stafford. The engineers brought to our attention that we do need to replace this 36-inch culvert that's down in the road there about, I'm going to guess it's 500 feet north of Washington Street. We're going to have to do that prior to doing any chipping. So right now we're kind of waiting to see exactly what that's going to cost, because all of our projects are very tight this year. A couple of them went over the engineer's estimate, and so we're in the process. We just got some engineering from them today, and we're going to put a little project together and see what it's going to cost to do that. More importantly is that we don't want to chip while we're doing that, and so it may require us to either delay that project. We don't want to do it too far into the end of the year because of the weather. I did contact the low bidder, which was Hughes Construction, and I explained to them the situation we were in, and that we do value them as a vendor, and that we want to keep them informed right along of what we're thinking here, so we don't disrupt their schedule too much either.
And I talked to Emmerich this morning before, some things were discussed, and Newberg's got a chunk of that project.
Yeah, it's a very small project.
And it's also in pretty good shape. I drove it today.
Yeah.
And I would imagine they'll understand.
Yeah,
So.
we, Emmerich and I just, as a matter of fact, this afternoon drove the whole thing today again. So, the other project we have out, which is the drainage improvement and asphalt resurfacing, which is two issues. One is this big culvert project up in Whisperwood, and the other is doing the culverts, the drainage, and resurfacing East Washington Street with asphalt. Those are connected together right now, and the engineer would like to have another 3 days to get back to us on their recommendations for that project. They're doing, they go through quite an exhaustive review of the projects, and as you know, we only had one bidder. One of the things that complicates this a bit is on the 4th of July, it'll be a year that the cave-in happened on the driveway up there in Whisperwood. So, I mean, we went and visited that again today, but, that's a project that has to get done. We don't have any real leeway, so we expressed that to the engineers today, and they said we'll take that under consideration. So it may be necessary, depending on what the engineers come back with, that we may have to meet before the next meeting, because we have 3 weeks, and it's just a timing issue. Either of you have any issues with that, or?
No, my schedule's flexible enough, just let us know we gotta do it, we'll do it.
Sure.
Okay.
Heads up, I'll make it, I'm sure.
Back in the beginning of the year, we contracted to expand the parking lot at the park and add what we called the 150-foot west project. And Buckeye has completed that, and as usual, it's done a phenomenal job. Just phenomenal. So we now are moving into the point where we need to run a rock hound over that property. And it's a full week's worth of work if it doesn't rain. So I think we need to appropriate some money to maybe rent a rock hound for as much as a month. If they can get it done in a week, well, then we go to the week's rental. If it goes over, it's cheaper to keep it and pay the month's rental. You guys think about that, but
That makes the most sense. I mean, we wanna get it done, and we can't just sit on it and hope it's gonna be there, so we have to have equipment.
We got, when the sun shines, we gotta be ready.
That's what I mean. The way it's gone for the last 3 years, if you get a week of dry weather, do it. Yeah. We've been
So-
trying to, we've been
I think
trying to do this
it's,
for years.
it's about $3,600 a month. So if we want to just do a budget, for that, I'll make a motion to do that. Spend up to that, $3,600 for the rock hound
Okay, I'll second.
rental.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
yes.
John,
Yes. We have 100 spaces in the parking lot. Now, if you park all over there willy-nilly, have about 50. But Casey did go in there, and they actually striped the gravel, and it's stayed for quite a while. So we should have to be able to accommodate. We shouldn't have that parking issue we had up there in the last years. So
How long does the striping last on the gravel?
yeah, it lasted up there a good month. KCE did it, but I mean it's for their programs. I mean
They're pretty good at striping things, so.
they got that down exactly. PJ, you don't have anything more to add for Memorial Day, I don't think.
No, I think we got over
Are we
it
all
there.
set with the supplies and everything? We need to get new, what was it? We usually get new batteries and everything.
She's bought batteries,
Okay.
yes. You can pretty much count on that being dead, a microphone.
We should have more, we got the benches in, so
Yeah.
that should solve that issue.
You know, weather dependent on the crowd. I mean, either we have too many benches or you don't know. We've had pretty good luck for a few years now. You know, the committee that we're going to meet with, they do the
Just
they're
give
in
a
charge
little
of ammo.
give a quick summary of what we do.
Well, what the township does is we just kind of provide the central sounding board, actually. It's our veterans committee that's still headed up by local veterans, Jack and Jake Tripoli now. Jack's been highly involved, Jake's getting involved heavily. Frank Petrich has been our chairman for the last several years now. Small group, I'm going to say 10 to 15. Of course, we lost Johnny. Johnny always made it here, but this is still headed up by the veterans. We'd sure love to have some younger veterans involved. Of course, they have families, and time's tight. But I think the core group is still pretty strong. We just kind of provide, at this point, contact with the sheriff, contact with, now we got both churches involved this year, which is kind of nice. Making sure we've got road control. Chief helps out with whatever comes along. The museum, of course, opened at the end. I've been getting speaker. Don always got the speaker. You know, Don, that was always Don's thing. And I got to say that Mark Jimison was always on that list, and Johnny Reithofer always asked me if he was available. And he's been relocated now, and he's going to be in town that weekend. So I think that's to get somebody that these guys wanted to have here years ago. I think it's kind of a good thing. But no, like I said, the credit for putting this thing together still belongs to that Veterans Committee. We type letters, we make contacts. That's about it.
This kind of thing, and we meet over, have a small parade from the old Auburn School over to the cemetery. We have a ceremony there, and then everybody adjourns and goes down to the Auburn Corner Cemetery, where we do some different things. We have the raising of the military flags, and
The scouts help with that.
scouts are involved in that. So
Yeah.
anybody that hasn't come, you'd be very interested to come. This service has been going on since, it's one of the longest running ones.
It's got to be 60 years now, I think.
60 years.
Don put it together. He kept a diary of what it entailed every year. It actually moved from a few locations. At one point, I remember reading Don's diary, I think 50s, that they were fearful that it was becoming too political. They used to hold the event up here at the church, probably the old church, the one that's now up in Burton, Century Village, and they were asked to move. They no longer have it here because they started getting local politicians coming out to campaign. So it was moved there. And I suppose, you know, the parade here probably began to look like a 60-year-old version of the Sugar and Blossom Time parade. So therefore they said, no, get out of here. So it's, you know, it's always been kind of a solemn thing. It's a Sunday morning. And so I think it's appropriate. I think the tone's good. The school helps out. We always had a band here, marching band. They won't be there for any foreseeable future since they changed their schedule. We get a soloist, a vocalist, and usually is it a trumpet? We get a bagpiper too. Trumpet, trombone, what do we get?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bugle? Okay, they do taps. Play both cemeteries, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, we try to keep it simple.
I think the young fellow you had last year was very interesting,
The speaker.
the speaker.
Of the
Go down at the
Yeah.
cemetery, down at Auburn Corners.
Younger guy, that's my cousin. Yeah, he's
Yeah, he was really interesting.
2 terms in Iraq, or 2 tours in Iraq.
And so just to reiterate that that's the one day a year that our museum is open. So if anyone wants to go out and see a little bit of history on that day, that's your only shot.
Coffee and donuts.
Coffee and donuts.
Oh, PJ, it was brought to my attention that George Clemens in his garage has a lot of old-fashioned, you know, tools.
Mhm.
And they were wondering if the Auburn Corners Church could get some of them, or the museum could get some of them from him to put down there. I mean,
It's possible.
I mean, it was brought to me, and
Yeah.
I'm bringing it to you now.
It's
It's in your
possible.
lap.
Would it? Would we? You know, you were in there last year, and we had that volunteer girl, that Ashley
Yeah.
Bailey, that organized everything in there, and made it look like a
They
museum again.
really made it look nice.
It did. So she's still around. Lives on Taylor
Gotta
May.
get her back down there.
Yeah, I'll contact. I hate to put her back to work again, but she's a college kid now. But she's around. I still have her contact. I'll talk to her.
I mean, it was just something suggested to me
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
a young, he was a young boy when he moved away from Auburn. But George Clemens helped him out when he joined the service, and
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Well, I'm sure I'll see him there too, George. So
well, if he's all right, you will.
looked pretty good yesterday.
Pardon?
Looked pretty good yesterday. So
George was? He
Oh,
wasn't
Clemens.
there.
Oh.
George Clemens.
George Clemens.
Yeah.
All right, I'll call Mike. So I'll do.
I mean, it's just
Okay, I'll call
something that was suggested to me that might help the museum a little bit.
Couldn't hurt to ask.
Her desk. All right.
Okay, let's move on to new business here. The first item we have is we need to do a resolution. As you know, we have a series of 3 1-mil levies and 1 2-mil levy for our road capital goods program. And this is, there is no benefits to not doing a renewal, maybe $50 or $100. So I think, to do a replacement, we should do a renewal. I feel we should do a renewal. I mean, it's from the road department standpoint. But I will say this, without this levy, program's in deep trouble always. And we kind of like that a little bit in that it kind of holds our feet to the fire all the time. And I have to say, from driving quite a few miles this afternoon with them, roads are in pretty good shape. So we do need to.
So having small levies on an annual basis gives the taxpayers a reason, opportunity to say what they
Voice their
feel.
concerns, and also I know it seems like they keep coming up all the time, but I don't know. It's been working pretty good. We've been doing this now for probably 12 years, something like that. So with that, we do have a resolution, certificate of need, resolution 2016-13. Whereas the Auburn Township Board of Trustees has determined that it will be necessary to levy an additional tax outside of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of road improvement pursuant to ORC 5705.19G inclusive at a rate of 1 mil for 5 years, which levy is a renewal. Be it resolved by the Auburn Township Board of Trustees after meeting in regular session on this 16th day of May 2016 that pursuant to ORC 5705.03B said board hereby certifies this resolution to the Geauga County Auditor and requests that the County Auditor certify back to the Auburn Township Board of Trustees the total current tax valuation of the subdivision and the number of mills required to generate a specific amount of revenue or the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a specific number of mills for the purpose of road improvement pursuant to ORC 5705.19G, inclusive at a rate of 1 mil for 5 years, which levy is a renewal.
Is that a motion?
That is the motion.
Second.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. Now, there's still one more step to this, is that right, Fred?
Yeah, there'll be another resolution where we send it to the Board of Elections. So this is just going to the auditor. And what the auditor does is, it's said in the resolution, they let us know how much money that levy would generate.
Okay, next item is we have received Southern Link franchise fees in the amount of $2,751.55. Any thoughts on what you'd like to do with that?
A motion to move it into the Land Acquisition Improvement Fund.
You guys do general fund first, Fred, or can we do that motion
It's going to be received into the general fund
automatically?
automatically.
Okay.
So then we just
So
have to.
this is the only motion we have to make, then,
Right.
to put it where we want. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll second Mike's motion.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. We also received franchise fees from Time Warner in the amount of $3,882.59.
Well, then I'll make a motion that we transfer that on over to the Acquisition Improvement Fund.
Second?
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. Okay, we also have a little housekeeping, I guess, Fred, from the Middlefield Bank.
Yeah, it's just permission to continue doing our electronic transfers. So payroll is the big one, and then a couple of other items that we do electronically. So I don't know that we really need a motion on it. Guess that's up to the board if you want to enter it as a motion.
So moved. Motions are free.
All right.
Well, it's on the agenda, so I'll second it.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. Okay, we had a request from the Auburn Community Church to use Adam Hall, and it's for some kind of an event that they're holding for the church. And it's a little bit out of the normal guidelines that we had set up for Adam Hall, but when it was brought to me, I wanted to tell Nancy that in the past, before there was an Adam Hall, the Auburn Community Church many times stepped up, and we held township functions there. So I think that in return the favor to them, that we should allow them to use this for this function with waiving of the fees.
I would have to agree with that. They've been a great neighbor to us, and when we were doing the King James thing,
That's right. There
was
was 2 or 3 meetings there.
that was filled up, and plus there's standing room only. So
Yeah, exactly. We had a couple other issues there. So, I mean, it's not that it's not a one-way street at all. And so that's why I'm more than happy to extend the courtesy back to them.
I'll take that as a very eloquent motion, and I will second.
I've been told actually by a lot of people that I am quite eloquent.
Is that right? Absolutely. And genteel also.
Mm-hmm.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. Okay, I guess we have some people that have purchased some real estate from us. Those of you who are here for your school class, it's never a bad thing to own real estate. And we have real estate for sale down at Auburn Corners here. And it's at a very, very attractive price.
Plan ahead.
$7 per parcel.
I'll try to get a little sales speech in for that, you know.
They're lining up. People are dying to get in there.
Okay, do we have any other comments? Yes.
Yes, checking out the warrants, I have an idea that warrant 3033, the flag store, had to do with purchasing new flags. How many new flags did we get?
I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head.
I'm sorry?
There were several. It's for the Memorial Day celebration.
Memorial Day, right.
Yeah, I have
As many as we needed.
I'd have to look at the invoice.
Okay, second question then, warrant 3017, to Cummins for $683.21. What was that?
That is for a maintenance program for our generator at the road garage. There's an annual maintenance program, so there's a payment that's made every year.
Okay.
Any further motions?
So moved.
That would be the motion of all motions.
Absolutely, the ultimate.
Second it.
Mike?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
John?
Okay. We're adjourned.
25.
Anybody who needs a piece of paper signed to say you were there, come on up.